39 today. Sound is a bell. "39 today. Sound is a bell. Apart from my old weaknesses. And intellectually, I have every reason to suspect at the crest of the wave, or thereabouts. Celebrated the awful occasion as in recent years, quietly at the wine house. Not a soul. Sat before the fire with closed eyes, separating the grain from the husks. I jotted down a few notes on the back of an envelope. It's good to be back in my den, in my old rags. I've just eaten, I regret to say, 3 bananas, and only with difficulty refrained from a 4th. Fatal things for a man with my condition. Cut him out! Well, a new light above my table's a great improvement. With all this darkness around me, I feel less alone. In a way. I love to get up and move about in it, and then back here to me. Crap. The grain. What I wonder do I mean by that? I suppose I mean those things worth having when all my dust has settled. I close my eyes and try to imagine them. Extraordinary silence this evening. I strain my ears and do not hear a sound. Old Miss McGlone always sings at this hour. But not tonight. Songs of her girlhood, she says. Hard to think of her as a girl. A wonderful woman. Well, cannot, I fancy. Shall I sing when I am her age, if I ever am? No. Did I sing as a boy? No. Did I ever sing? No. Just been listening to an old year, passages at random. I did not check in the book, but it must be 10 or 12 years ago. At that time, I think I was still living on and off with Bianca and Cater Street. Well, out of that, Jesus, yes, hopeless business. Not much about her, apart from a tribute to her eyes. Very warm. I suddenly saw them again. Incomparable. Oh. These old PMs are gruesome, but I often find them. A help before embarking on a new retrospect. Hard to believe I was ever that young whelp. The voice. Jesus. And the aspirations. And the resolutions. Oh. To drink less, in particular. Statistics. 1,700 hours out of the preceding 8,000 odd consumed on licensed premises alone. More than 20%, say 40% of his waking life. Now, plans for a less engrossing sexual life. Last illness of his father. Flagging pursuit of happiness, unattainable laxation. He sneers at what he calls his youth, and thanks to God that it's over. False ring there. Shadows of the opus magnum, closing with a yelp to Providence. What remains of all that misery? A girl in a shabby green coat in a railway station platform? No. When I look back on the year that is gone, with what I hope is a glint of the old eye to come, there is, of course, the house on the canal where Mother lay a-dying in the late autumn, after her long vacuity, and the dying in the late autumn, after her long vacuity, and the bench by the weir from where I could see her window. There I sat in the biting wind, wishing she were gone. And hardly a soul, just a few regulars, nursemaids, infants, old men, dogs. I got to know them quite well. By appearance, of course, I mean. One dark young beauty I recollect in particular. All white and starch, incomparable bosom, with a big black hooded perambulator, most funereal thing. And whenever I looked in her direction, she had her eyes on me. And yet, when I was bold enough to speak to her, not having been introduced, she threatened to call a policeman as if I had designs on her virtue. Oh, the face she had. The eyes. Like chrysolite. Well. I was there when the blind went down. One of those dirty brown roller affairs. I was throwing a ball for a little white dog, as chance would have it. I happened to look up, and there it was, all over and done with at last. I sat on for a few moments with the ball in my hand and the dog yelping and pawing at me. Moments. Her moments. My moments. The dog's moments. In the end, I held it out to him, and he took it in his mouth, gently, gently. A small, old, black, hard, solid rubber ball. I shall feel it in my hand until my dying day. I might have kept it, but I gave it to the dog. Oh well. Spiritually, a year of profound gloom and indigence until that memorable night in March, at the end of the jetty, in the howling wind, never to be forgotten, when suddenly I saw the whole thing, a vision at last. This, I fancy, is what I have chiefly to record this evening against the day when my work will be done, and perhaps no place left in my memory, warm or cold, for the miracle, for the fire, that set it alight. What I suddenly saw then was this. That the belief I'd been going on all my life, namely,
great granite rocks, the foam flying up in the light of the lighthouse, and the wind cage spinning like a propeller, clear to me at last that the dark I have always struggled to keep under is in reality my most unshatterable association until my dissolution of storm and night with the light of the understanding and the fire.
my face in her breast, and my hand on her. We lay there without moving. Under us, all moved, and moved us, gently up and down, and from side to side. Past midnight. Never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I am. Up a lake with the punt, bathed off the bank, and then pushed out into the stream and drifted. She lay stretched out on the floorboards with her hands under her heads and her eyes closed. Sun blazing down. Bit of a breeze, the water nice and lively. I noticed a scratch on her thigh and asked her how she came by it. Picking gooseberries, she said. I said again I thought it was hopeless and no good going on, and she agreed without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments, she did, but the eyes just slits because of the glare. I bent over her to get them into the shadow, and they opened. Let me in. We drifted in among the flags and stuck. The way they went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breast and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us gently up and down, and from side to side. Past midnight. Never knew.
Gooseberries, she said. I said again, I thought it was hopeless and no good going on, and she agreed without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments she did, but the eyes just slit because of the glare. I bent over her to get them into shadow, and they opened. Let me in. Drifted in among the flags and stuck. The way they went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved and moved us gently up and down. And from side to side. Past midnight. Never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I end this reel. Oh, box 3, spool 5. Perhaps my best years are gone, when there was a chance for happiness. But I wouldn't want them back. Not with the fire in me now. No. I wouldn't want them back.
There's a fruit store on our street, it's run by a Greek, and he keeps good things to eat, but you should hear him speak. When you ask him anything, never answers no. He just yeses you to death, and as he takes your dough, he tells you, yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. We brought beans like bunions, cabbages and onions, and all kinds of fruit and a pear. We have an old patron tomato, a nice juicy potato. But yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas.